On the last stop before WWE Fastlane, did everybody want to go home on this latest edition of Monday Night Raw? Let's discuss it. As always, I want to thank everybody for coming back to the Riggs Beast channel. So let's go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. And let's go beast on what was a fucking horrible Monday Night Raw. Where the hell do I begin with this? Really, I'm not joking. Where the hell do I begin? My God. Now, were there a couple good things tonight? Sure. And we're going to discuss it. We're going to discuss everything. But this show, for about 80%, legitimately pissed me off. Legitimately made me want to turn the television off, either put on Madden, go play For Honor, go to bed, do something other than watch this hot pile of garbage. But because I love what I do here, I watch the entire pile of garbage, and we're going to discuss the hot pile of garbage. The opening segment was not garbage. I will give it that. It's a cold open. Goldberg comes out. Now, I hate to admit it because I'm not a fan of Oldberg, but the crowd is reacting to him. Then again, this Green Bay crowd, we're going to talk about this later during the Seth Rollins segment. Honestly, fuck this crowd. And I'll tell you why during that. But anyway, Goldberg screws up the line about Kevin Owens was wearing last week. I mean, he does that. He's good for one a week. So that's the one he happened to screw up. Says he never made a promise he couldn't keep. So he promises the spear, jackhammer, and become the Universal Champion. Also talks about how Owens is only a talker, does nothing else. That, however, gets mostly a negative reaction. Then the crowd goes back to chanting Goldberg. What the fuck? Just what the fuck? Again, we're going to go over more of this in the Rollins thing. But fuck this crowd. Jesus Christ. Then he promises everyone, Goldberg, his wife, his kids, Owens, people at home, everybody, that he will deliver. He goes to leave. Owens comes out, again dressed in a suit. Owens says one more thing he's got to get off his chest that he wasn't able to last week, is that he promises he would grab this company by the throat, make them see what Owens is all about. And he says he's done that. He talked about beating Cena on his first night. He goes over all of his other accomplishments, beating Roman Reigns, beating Seth Rollins, beating Dean Ambrose. Goldberg is mocking him with claps. You know what I mean. When somebody's giving you that mock golf clap, that's what Goldberg's doing. Owens then tells Goldberg, you're next. You want to know why you're next? You're next because he's going to be a part of the evolution of Owens as champion. Again, they are dropping so many fucking hints on this. I'm going to save a lot of these thoughts for my Fastlane preview and prediction show, but they have been dropping some major hints to the point that even the casualist of casual fans can see something's going on. Owens then starts walking down saying like Goldberg sounds like he wants to have a fight. He'll have a Green Bay street fight. Then he stops and says, nah, Green Bay doesn't deserve to see me fight. Then he says he'll see Goldberg on Sunday, and on Sunday, the Goldberg chance will die. This segment was good. This segment helped build towards something on Sunday. I give them that. They have put doubt into people's minds whether Goldberg will win this match. People won't say it. They won't say it. But it has put doubts into people's minds whether Goldberg will win. There are many moving parts, and for that, I give them credit. But we're about to go on a long fucking bashing of this show now. So the next segment of this piece of shit was the New Day coming out. The New Day, they're fucking broken. And I'm using that term for a reason. They're fucking broken. Not broken like the Hardys. No. They're broken because they've got no one to fucking work with. And they even look like they're tired of the shit they're doing. They come out pumping ice cream again. They go as if they're going to wrestle the Shining Stars. And of course, WWE trying to keep up with pop culture, keeping up with current events. We all know the fuck up at the Oscars, so guess what the WWE does? They have a fuck up. Camera guy or TV guy or whoever the fuck guy comes in, gives an envelope to Xavier Woods. He says, wait, there's a mistake. This isn't indicative of our hosting, but we're not actually wrestling you. We're wrestling Steroid Man and Rusev. You're wrestling the Big Show later to the Shining Stars. Didn't care about the Shining Stars match. Don't care about this tag match either. But Rusev and Jinder Mahal versus the New Day, fucking weak. Really, who cares? Honestly, if you care, tell me in the comments why you care. Please tell me in the comments why you care. New Day wins with a roll-up. Mahal and Rusev get into an argument because Rusev was busy with Lana before Woods rolled them up. Again, who fucking cares? Really? This is now the segment of the Raw show where I give my weekly plea for Byron Saxton to either quit for the good of all of us or be fired for being bad at his job. He is fucking hard to listen to. Honestly, he belongs on a public broadcasting episode of a ripoff of Mr. Rogers at this point. That's how fucking bad he is. So we're going to start with 3 consecutive backstage segments in a goddamn row. Enzo and Cass versus the Club is recapped. Enzo and Cass are backstage. The basic of it is Cass wants to focus because they've never held titles. This feud, and I'm going to put feud mildly, is 6 months overdue. Nobody cares about the Club now, and nobody fucking cares about Enzo and Cass when both of them were one of the hottest things when they came in, and in 6 months, they were managed to who give a fuck. That's where they managed to put them. Who gives a fuck? So they're going to fight on Sunday. Great. We're starting to build toward that now, 6 days before. Really? Really? I talked in maybe my first or second video I put on this channel about building stories, building characters. Why do people care about wrestlers? This is an example of why nobody gives a fuck about Enzo, Cass, or the Club. People will cheer when they come out. People do their shtick. But it ain't nearly as loud as it used to be. It ain't nearly as boisterous as it used to be. And you know why? Because they fucked it up. Plain and simple. Look at the line that they've done with these guys. They booked the Club to look so weak that eventually nobody cared because they couldn't beat anybody. They couldn't do 2-on-1 against Roman Reigns. They just lost 2 straight weeks to him again. Roman decimated them early on in the AJ Styles feud, so people stopped believing in them. Then you had Enzo and Cass, which became a fucking comedy act and spokespeople for whoever WWE was pimping and putting out the most ad dollars. Now they're trying to make them into tag title contenders. Seriously. Second straight segment, this one was okay. This one was okay. Cesaro and Sheamus are arguing about what happened last week. Samoa Joe comes up to Cesaro, is talking trash, talks about grabbing for the brass ring to Cesaro, says that he walked in with it around his neck. I love that line. Not going to lie, love the shit out of that line. In a segment that happens a little later, Mick Foley and Joe are going to have a back and forth. They're going to book a match tonight between Cesaro and Joe. Your boy here, last week on Let's Talk Wrestling, went ahead and fantasy booked, Samoa Joe versus Cesaro at WrestleMania. I still think it'd be a great Mania match. They had a good match tonight. We're going to talk about that. Third backstage segment now. This is all in a row. Again, as repeated, all in a row. It's Stephanie apologizing to Mick, quote unquote, starts putting over Mick about what he's done. And then she states that Mick's not the guy she wanted to hire. As Triple H is getting stronger, he's getting weaker. Mick just stares off in the nothingness and looks angry. We then go to Cruiserweight match number 1. Akira Tozawa versus Noam Dar. It's a 3-minute match. No wonder no one cares about the Cruiserweights. They get no fucking time. I'm going to keep harping back on this too. Bring it to the table. JBL tells Peter Rosenberg that the Cruiserweights get 4 segments in an hour. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 6 minutes. 2 segments. 6 fucking minutes. Where's that hour? Anyway, they pimped this for the sole purpose that at Fastlane on the pre-show, it's going to be Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann versus Kendrick and Dar on the pre-show. Great. Fantastic. Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared about this. So we're going to move on. Now, the next thing was the mixed segment I talked about with Joe. Then we get into Charlotte and Dana, quote unquote, versus Sasha and Bayley. This could have been a good tag match until they fucking killed it with 10 minutes of horrible dialogue. Now let me explain what I mean by horrible fucking dialogue. Charlotte and Dana come out first. Charlotte, droning on the mic like a fucking robot, is putting Bayley down, talking about how she won the title by cheating, blah, blah. Talking about how she's 16-0 at pay-per-view. The announcers even pimped that. The potential to be a 5-time champ. The announcers pimped that. Charlotte still blah, blah, blah about Bayley. Bayley then gets on the mic as she comes down. She talks about being glad she didn't give up the belt. Then points to the Wrestlemania sign and said this is her new dream now, to walk into Mania as the champ. We're like 5 minutes in. Nobody has emotion. They're talking like this. You hate the way I sound now? That's how this 10 minutes sounded. So then after she did that for a couple minutes, you think, okay, Sasha's going to come out, the match is going to start, right? Match is going to start. Wrong. Fucking wrong. Sasha's going to come out. Sasha's going to talk for another 2 minutes. Now, here's WWE Logic 101. This is the shit that pisses me off. Tell Charlotte, Bayley is more deserving to be a champion than you because of who she is. Now, if you have half a fucking brain and you follow the product and don't just mindlessly watch it, on the last 2 pay-per-views for Raw, who has Charlotte beaten? Bayley and Sasha. Clean as a whistle. But Bayley's more deserving. Again, the logic makes zero fucking sense. How do you get behind it? How do you try to grasp onto this when you just think about that? It's fucking maddening to me. This was the segment that put me over the edge. This is the segment that pissed me off. It was this one right here. Sasha does eventually say, why are we still talking? We have a tag match. Sasha talks about wanting to punch Charlotte in her stupid face. Sounds like a Chris Jericho line. So Charlotte then says before the match starts, Brooke is not my partner. Nia Jax comes out. The match begins. Nia Jax is fucking horrible tonight. I just spent a fucking weekend defending fat shaming. Then she comes out and acts horrible. Could you give me a little backup? Just a little backup. She was just a second off on everything she was trying to do. Everything looked like shit. When she wasn't in the match, it wasn't bad. But there's no point in going over it. None. You were killed by the talking segment, and then if you weren't killed by that, honestly, Nia Jax's performance tonight before Charlotte got in the ring would have killed you. The match is going to end, though, with Nia Jax pinning Bayley after her Hogan leg drop. Like I said, this segment pissed me off. So this is going to be followed by yet another backstage segment. Hooray! With Braun Strowman demanding a contract signing. A contract signing for a match that was booked 3 weeks ago and agreed to by both parties 3 weeks ago at Fastlane. So we're going to end the show tonight with a contract signing. Hooray. The excuse they try to use to even book this horrible shit is that Braun's afraid that Roman isn't going to show up. So he wants him to sign a contract. Now, I won't say this often because I'm sure it is hard to write a television show. But that right there is some lazy ass fucking writing. Really lazy ass fucking writing. So the next thing's gotta be good, right? I mean, the next segment has got to be something good. Big Cass versus Luke Gallows. Again, the club versus Cass and Enzo. The feud 6 months too late. There's no build. There's no story. Who cares? Anderson tries to throw Enzo into the stairs. It's reversed. Cass is going to win with a big boot in a glorified squash match. Moving on. So on a quick angle that took place on Facebook Live, because everybody watches Facebook Live when they're watching Raw, Titus O'Neil pitches himself to be the tag team partner of Sheamus after Joe destroys Cesaro tonight. Sheamus then throws him into catering. This show belongs where the food on the table where Titus got thrown to belongs, on the fucking floor and in the garbage. So Titus is actually going to go all fucking physical in this match and be like, wow, this is different. They're actually doing something with boom, leg kick from Sheamus. It's over. I mean, can you at least pretend to want to do something with Titus before you fire him in a month or two? Just pretend. So next was the Seth Rollins segment, and at least this is something that you could enjoy. So Corey Graves is in the ring, and he's going to do the interview with Seth Rollins, and he calls out Seth, and Seth comes out with a brace and crutch, heavily limping, gets in the ring. He says the tear was more significant than first thought. Seth is playing this off as majorly depressed. He says feeling the snap again in his knee and laying in a hospital bed had him thinking he might deserve this. He brings up the end of WrestleMania 31, asking what did this cost him? What did he sacrifice? At this point, and this is good television, this is good by Seth, this is good by Corey. The Green Bay crowd, ladies and gentlemen, decides this is the perfect time for CM Punk chants. Why? And then you had part of the crowd booing another part of the crowd for chanting CM Punk during something good on this show. Did they chant CM Punk during Cass and Gallows? No. Did they chant CM Punk versus the New Day and Rusev and Steroids Mahal? No. They do it during one of the most important segments on the show and one of the most important segments leading into WrestleMania. That's when they do it. This crowd fucking sucked. They did the shit with Goldberg. They do this shit here. And when you have part of the crowd booing another part of the crowd, that's fucking ridiculous. We talked about this on an episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. The crowd wants to be too much a part of the show, and when you have dumb fucking people in the audience who want to be a part of the show, they do dumb people things. And boy, did they do some dumb people shit here, because they were actually getting good television. I know the first 2 hours of the show was dog shit. But when the non-dog shit comes on, that's not the time to shit on it. These people in Green Bay tonight were fucking awful. And for the people chanting CM Punk while Seth Rollins was in the ring, go home. Seth, again, he's really selling the depressed side of this. Corey's going to ask him the flat-out question, will you be at Mania? Because Triple H is claiming because of what him and Samoa Joe did, you won't. Seth kind of gives him the not sure, but doctors won't probably clear him. Triple H comes out at this point, and he's got a shit-eating grin on his face, and it's great. Once Triple H starts talking, they show Joe right outside on the other side of where Triple H is. So they've got him surrounded. Triple H tells Seth, you won't be at Mania. And don't listen to the crowd because they'll get you in trouble. If you know what's good for you, don't come to Mania. Salvage what little career you have left. He also says again, don't show up at Mania and don't call me out. Now at this time I was thinking they were going to maybe make this go all the way to Mania with the unsure. But then Seth goes, I will be at Mania, and if it's the last thing I do, I'll make sure this is the last thing you ever do. And then Triple H and Joe leave as a great stare down happens. This was a great segment, albeit the ridiculously stupid fucking crowd. This was a great segment. But that was it, folks. Well, no, I lied. There is one other good point of this night. We're going to get the Shining Stars versus the Big Show next. The Big Show wins. And in even bigger news, the Big Show versus Shaq appears to be off. Damn it. The match nobody wanted appears to not be happening. Really, return your WrestleMania tickets. No Shaq versus Big Show. So then they do another backstage segment. What do we have, to 5 now? Neville is not even talking to Tony Nese in this segment. He's staring off into space talking to a guy about what he's supposed to do and what the match is about. All I can notice is that he's looking fucking way off camera talking, as if he's reading a card or staring off into space, whatever. What the fuck with this show? So then an Austin Aries vignette's going to play next. He is due to come off of injury soon, so don't be shocked if this is starting to introduce people to the physical side of Austin Aries, the wrestling side of Austin Aries. So Perkins and Gallagher are going to face Nese and Neville here. The match lasted 2 minutes. Again, remember when I said 5 total minutes? 3 for the first segment, 2 for this segment. 5 minutes. What happened to that hour? Gallagher makes Nese tap. And I know I haven't been breaking down the match as much tonight. I really do. But honestly, with all these matches so far, are you really going to spend time to break them down? Are you going to listen? Because who the fuck cares about any of it? Now, Beth Phoenix is announced for the Hall of Fame, and I want to talk about this for a second. Now, there's a lot of flack that China should be getting in, and I agree with it. China should definitely be in before Beth Phoenix. China deserves to be in long ago. We have no issue there. But the issue I have is not necessarily with the Hall of Fame. It's with the idea of it. It's imaginary, guys. The fucking thing is imaginary. Let me ask you something. What's the address of the WWE Hall of Fame? Go Google it. See what you get. You Google it yet? You get anything? There isn't a fucking building. Now, you remember the rumors that they were going to build one? Yeah, where'd they go? There's no fucking place to go visit. There's nothing. It's an imaginary. You want to go visit the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame? Go visit Vince McMahon's fucking head, because that's where it is. So if that's going to be the Hall of Fame, then why get so bent out of shape when people like China and Owen Hart and for years Macho Man Randy Savage are not in the damn thing? It's an imaginary fucking thing created by Vince McMahon. There's not even a place to go see it. There's nothing to it. It's just random shit. It's random people that he chooses. That's it. Why get bent out of shape? The whole reason for the Hall of Fame ceremony, the only fucking reason for it now, is number one, so they can put it on the network. Number two, so they can broadcast it on television. I don't know if they're going to do it this year. And number three, so it can be a topper to WrestleMania ticket packages, so they can increase the price and get you to spend more money. Now, yes, they have just WrestleMania tickets, but why not buy WrestleMania and access tickets? Or for maybe $75 more or $100 more, I haven't priced these, you can buy all three and get tickets to all three events. See where I'm coming with this? That's what the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is. But after that, where does it go? Fucking nowhere. But people will go nuts about this. Again, when you can Google and send me an address for the WWE Hall of Fame, then we can go nuts together. Then we can start banging down the door for Owen Hart and China. But until then, stop getting pissed over an imaginary Hall of Fame. So Joe versus Cesaro is going to be next. And this was a good fucking match. It wasn't great like their indie days, but this was a good quality match. It starts with Cesaro showing his typical strength early. He basically deadlifted Joe into a power slam, which shows about 300 pounds. This is legitimate fucking strength by Cesaro. Cesaro also early, he gets Joe in the corner. He's going to go for a splash, but he's going to get backdropped over it, and he sells tweaking his knee, which is going to be important. Joe then does what looks like a muscle buster, but on the knee. It was really impressive. Really fucking impressive. They go to commercial after this. Now, after the commercial, Joe's dominating. He hits an enziguri on Cesaro. Then he puts him into a knee bar to try to get him to submit. Cesaro's going to counter this. He's going to counter it into a sharpshooter. Eventually, Samoa Joe's going to get out of it. They're going to go back and forth. Cesaro's going to get him in for the neutralizer, but he gets backdropped. Cesaro again sells the knee injury. Again, Cesaro gets the advantage. Cesaro's going to go for his springboard uppercut. Sells the knee injury. Joe finishes him off. 1, 2, 3, Joe wins. Honestly, go YouTube these guys' indie matches. They had some fucking classics. Now, after this match, Joe's going to have an interview, and he's asked about his dominance in a short time. He says he came to hurt people. He puts over Cesaro as a freak athlete, a seasoned vet, a great grappler, but he's not me. Says it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in the company, he will hurt you. Zayn's music's going to hit after this, and he's going to attack Joe. This is a great thing, by the way. Zayn's going to get the upper hand before security grabs him. Joe's then going to sucker punch Zayn. He's going to go after Zayn. He's going to get Zayn down. Then Zayn, as Joe's being held back, is going to do a reverse moonsault off of the entrance ramp onto the floor, onto Joe, while security's holding Joe back. This is a feud somebody can get behind and might go till WrestleMania itself. They come back and they show Zayn versus Joe, and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax have been booked for Fastlane. Now we get to the contract signing. This was a stupid-ass contract signing that made zero fucking sense. They did one thing well, and I'll point it out towards the end. Strowman's going to come down first. Well, Mick Foley's going to be there, excuse me. Then Strowman's going to come down. Strowman's going to talk down the Foley saying, once you introduce the contract, once you introduce me, there's no need for you. Get out of the ring. Says Stephanie was right about Foley. Foley starts yelling about it. He's tired of being talked to, how he's tired of being talked down the way he is. I'm not being disrespected. You're going to respect me as a legend. If you don't respect me as a GM, I know the writing's on the wall. I know my days are numbered. You know Foley's leaving. He's even saying he's leaving. Again, he needs that hip surgery. Strowman goes to get in Foley's face. Roman Reigns comes out. They start fighting, so they just have a brawl. They go into the tech area in the crowd. They're going to fight each other for a little bit. This got boring real fast, but Roman does a cool spear. I'll give him this. It was a cool spear back into the ringside area. Security guard gets caught up in all of it. Roman gets in the ring to sign the contract, notices Strowman's getting up and gets in the ring, gives him the Superman punch, goes for the spear, gets caught, gets thrown into the turnbuckle. Now to show Strowman's ungodly strength, he breaks the turnbuckle, which obviously were loosened, so it snaps back, and it sounds good with the snap to make it look like he broke the fucking top rope. So as Strowman's leaving, Roman gets to his knees and signs the contract. That was good. That's one of the few times you can actually look at Roman Reigns doing something and showing something babyface and some character about him. Not nearly enough to get me to like him, but I'll give him credit for at least doing something. And at least doing something to give you sympathy for Roman, or even make Roman look like a goddamn babyface and like look somebody you want to care about. That at least is something you want to care about. I'm going to rate this show a 1.5. Honestly, this Raw was fucking garbage. What did you miss on this show? Basically nothing. The opening segment with Owens and Goldberg was good. The Seth Rollins segment was good, but the crowd fucking will piss you off. And the Joe and Cesaro match was good, but they've had better ones on YouTube. And the little end with Roman Reigns was okay. So like I said, 1.5 out of 10. Show is hot garbage. And I want to thank you guys for coming back to the Riggs Beast channel for this Raw review. So let's go ahead and go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. And as always, guys, keep it beast.